Hey, happy Tuesday and welcome to another coaching session. Today I'm solo. I don't have any co-hosts this morning, but that's okay. We're going to keep this short and sweet. It's a good topic this morning we're talking about, and one that perhaps of everybody that's going to jump on this specific blab. And this is the topic: attitude. Your attitude is either your closest friend or your worst enemy. And the most amazing thing about the attitude is that you get to choose it. There's no victimization here. We're each gifted a new day of life. If you've opened your eyes and you're sitting and you're listening to this particular blab, then obviously you're still wearing the earth suit. And along with the earth suit comes the mind. Now, the mind can be your closest asset when it comes to creating your perspectives and your life experience, or it can literally be a little serpent and shut you down. We've all had those experiences when we have good intentions. We begin our day. I believe that there's very few people, unless they're completely identifying with their pain, that wake up and say, hey, I have a bad attitude and I'm going to embrace that and make that my approach to life. Oftentimes we start our day, we have an incredible outlook on life. We want to begin the day anew. Thanks be to God. We do have the gift to be able to begin each day new with a new attitude, to be able to shake off the dust of the day before. How do we do this, though? This is the practical question, because you can have the good intentions, and as you're going through the day, all of a sudden you find yourself face to face with a creature that is literally sabotaging the best version of you. Perhaps it shows up more like an animalistic approach to life. We either will implode or explode, or I refer to it as turning green. One of my favorite childhood shows was The Incredible Hulk, and I remember Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. The combination of, he wanted to keep his emotions calm, because if not, Shazam, all of a sudden he'd blow up into the Incredible Hulk. So we have this constant push and pull going on within ourselves. Our attitude, as I mentioned, is our closest friend, our worst enemy. Let me give you a little definition of stress here, because the attitude walks hand in hand with the stress response. And I'll give you a little specifics behind this so you can understand this. Life happens. It will continue to happen. I can assure you, as long as you're wearing this earth suit, it's going to continue to happen. You're heading out into your day. Perhaps you have a great intention. This is going to be a great day. Thank you, dear God, I'm still wearing this earth suit. I say that every day after going through advanced cancer, and just very grateful to be alive. And then all of a sudden, you'll get on your email, you'll have the distractions, and somebody perhaps will say something that triggers you into this animalistic primal response. Now, just to give you a little history, it served us a long time ago. The way that God wired us together, the actual primal response was that of protection. You're walking along, beautiful day, beautiful forest, you see the sunlight. All of a sudden, there's a little bush that starts to rustle, and all of your attention goes to the bush. All right, you have this beautiful garden that you're in or surrounding in the forest. You hear the birds, the sunshine, but all your focus goes to that bush for protection. So we still have that, just modern day times. It's not the lions and tigers and bears. It's the fears, doubts, and worries creating the same exact response. Oh my gosh, I'm threatened, I'm under attack. Over again, that I'm blessed to coach, ask me, how do I get out of the spin? I can't help myself. That's one of the victimization cries. I can't help myself. So I'm reminded of an incredible work of art by C.S. Lewis. I love his metaphorical writing. And if you haven't had a chance to read this particular piece of work by C.S. Lewis, I highly recommend you Google it and check it out. It's called The Great Divorce. And in it, there is I actually saw the play and was reminded of that play this past weekend at church, because my childhood pastor, I was in New York City, and he was referencing this particular play, which made me think about the metaphor of the attitude and how it overrides all of our good intentions to be the best version of ourselves, to be a positive faith-filled, loving, kind, compassionate human being? Is this not what brings us the greatest joy at the end of the day? Wow, I aligned more today than yesterday in the highest version of me. And so in this particular writing and metaphorical scene, there's a story, there's a scene he describes of a ghost, and there's the flame of heaven. Could be referred to as the Holy Spirit, desiring to help us to step out of those things that spin us away from the person that brings about the best expression of God in the world. And so as he is going through the experience of it starts out with the people on a bus, and then it goes into their experience of heaven, and this person is kind of doing a tour of metaphorically hell, and he runs across this oily gray spirit who has a little reptile red lizard on his shoulder. And so this red lizard is constantly spewing negativity into the mind of this tormented, oily gray spirit. And so as he's trying to relate to the group in front of him, he's hearing this negative input from the red lizard. And so the flame, the Spirit of God, comes and says, "Would you like me to remove the lizard?" To which the oily gray spirit responds, "Will it hurt?" Now this indicates a power or an agreement. And this is what we do. We become so identified with our response to life that we literally sabotage our best efforts to get to higher ground, to basically be the best version of ourselves. So it's like, I want to make a better choice in this situation when I feel threatened, or when I feel jealous, or I'm comparing, or there's lust, whatever it is. And yet we go back and forth. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. So it's this constant flipping back and forth, which creates the stress response of anxiety. And this renders us in this flatlined state of shame and guilt, because oftentimes we'll have those good intentions that are sabotaged by the red lizard. So as this conversation goes on between the flame and the oily gray spirit with the red lizard, he continually asks questions. Will this hurt if you remove this? Now, the desire from the heavenly realms is, let me remove this, so that you can lean back into your fullest expression, your God-given natural state of being, to light up the world. And yet this spirit had become so identified with the negative language. And this is, and the picture that I posted with this particular blab this morning speaks to that clearly. Don't allow your circumstance to define what you are capable of handling successfully. And this is what he's done. He's identified with the red lizard. Who would I be without the negative feedback? Because that's my set point in life. And so once something becomes a set point and we've actually farmed out our identity to it, I don't know who I would be if I didn't attach myself to this negative language. So my invitation, I'm going to continue the story, but just to pause here, my invitation this week is simple: to just increase your noticing. What is your red lizard? What are the words that are being spewed into your mind and sabotaging your best efforts to be able to fully express a positive attitude toward life? This is a decision that you make moment to moment, email to email, human being to human being, response or lack of response. I remember when my first book I was finding a publisher for my first book. I got all of these thanks, but no thanks. You're a great writer, but it's just not a fit for our group. And I remember when I went inside and asked for the strength and just a soundbite to help buoy me and flip me out of the negativity of taking the feedback personally, I remember hearing, it's not rejection, it's just direction. It's not rejection, it's just direction. So simply that one little soundbite was enough to override the negative sabotage language within my mind. So back to the lizard. So the gray oily spirit was resisting, basically guarding the negative input in his life, because it become a part of his self-image. And the persistence, I love the persistence of the heavenly realm, not to leave us in that place of sabotage and lack and scarcity. This morning I did a meditation, an Advent meditation on St. Ignatius, and he was talking about don't ever make a decision when you're in a place of desolation. So when you're in a place of desolation, meaning identifying with that negative voice, take self-care, time to reboot your systems. And I'll mention a few of those before the end of this blab to be able to catapult you out of that conversation with your lizard. Who's your lizard? What's your lizard saying? So finally, after push and pull back and forward, come here, step away from the lizard. No, it's part of me. So this conversation went back and forth. Finally, the man said, all right, just do it. And the angel or the flame, the Holy Spirit said, it confirmed that you're not going to die from this process. It's going to be painful, which it is. Anytime that we die to an ego expression of ourselves, it hurts because we're letting go of fear, doubt, and worry that we've given free rent to in our heads. We're the landlord here. This is the key thing to remember, particularly this season when we're pulled in so many different directions. You're the landlord of who you're giving free rent to here. So to evict those spirits, that kind of inner self-talk, the intonation you use to yourself, anytime you take a step away from what's familiar, there's the sting of something new. Will I be okay? Will I be able to adjust and lean into this new experience, which is what the great oily spirit was experiencing. So finally, he got the yes. The spirit came in and literally strangled the red lizard. And the next observation, the next scene, is a scene of transformation. And this is what's so powerful. It literally is a scene of transformation. And so as the lizard was strangled, the man began to transform, and he began to grow bigger and stronger, and it's referred to as like a soldier. His strength and stature grew. His entire posture changed, which happens when we embrace a positive attitude. So the posture was changing. He ends up resurrecting basically the parts of himself that he had literally buried as a result of giving honor and position to the negative talk. Now, what was interesting is the lizard didn't die. The lizard was transformed into this amazingly brilliant horse. And so the soldier ends up getting on the horse and riding into the mountain of God, as C.S. Lewis talks about it. This is an interesting point to mention here, that the negativity that was riding the man, the negativity was literally riding the man. Once it was died, once the death occurred, the stepping away from the identifying to the negative self-talk occurred, the man rode the reptile. The reptile became this powerful new horse. And that's what happens when you start to identify and adjust your perceptions on life, when you are able to remember what you're capable of handling successfully. So I'm going to end this blab today with just a few tips to help you flip out of that negative attitude. One is awareness. Clarity of focus leads to accuracy of response. And those of you who follow some of the work that God is doing through my life, you'll hear me say that quite a bit, that you are given an opportunity for clarity because clarity allows for adjustment. And so there's a process that literally takes place. There's the learning process. Then there's the reflection period that happens. After the reflection period of seeing, okay, this is a learning experience, I get flared. Many times I'll say, wow, I thought I passed that Earth School class of jealousy. I'll get an email or see that someone's advancing or expanded or was hired or chosen over me, all of the things that can easily flare us up into a sense of insecurities, which don't align with the Spirit of God within us. Then we get that flared moment, which is the learning experience. Now, if we just lean into it and sabotage ourselves, we'll just stay there, literally imprisoned in that place of jealousy or comparison or a sense of inadequacy. I invite you to go through the next stage. So there's the learning, there's the reflecting. The reflecting period is basically you simply reflect, just as that oily gray ghost was reflecting, how is this red lizard serving my highest good? So then you go through the period of reflection, and then that gets more clarity. This doesn't serve my highest good, being jealous, angry, frustrated, insecure. This doesn't support the unique gifts that God has given me to share with the world. So it instantly flatlines any positive intention or positive attitude, or it can catapult you to the next level. The next level, after reflection, is identifying and adjusting. Yeah, you know what? That doesn't serve me. So now I'm going to adjust my perceptions of this situation. One of my prayers this week is simply, dear God, grant me the grace to rejoice in the successes of those people around me. That is a powerful prayer, but think of the mind space that is freed up from the answer to that prayer. That you simply step out of the muck of comparative antics. The serpents, I mean, how many red lizards are just having a payday in your mind you're giving free rent to when you're comparing? And when you compare to another human being, it's if you're saying, you have something I need in order to love and accept myself. So you're sabotaging you rather than celebrating your uniqueness and celebrating their uniqueness. So you have the initial learning experience, you reflect on it, then you're in a position after your reflection to identify and adjust. What do I want to hold on to? What do I want to release? Then you go to the next stage, which is actually integration. So you move from the identifying and adjusting stage. That doesn't serve the person I'm committed to being. That doesn't support the best version of me. Once you get to that point, identifying and adjusting, and then you move into the integration, what would support the best version of me in this specific situation? So, for example, taking the situation I expressed to you earlier, you get an email or a notice that somebody was hired over you, or they got a position you were going for. Instantly watch. This is a learning experience. This is all Earth School experiences, opportunities for growth. Don't fall asleep in the eye of the storm. This leads to the greatest personal growth known to mankind, is when you feel twisted inside. So that's the learning experience. Stay awake, high noticing. What are you feeling within your body? Stress is simply the power you give to outside circumstance to define your worth, your value, and what you believe you're capable of handling successfully. So in that learning experience, simply ask yourself the question, what power am I giving to this circumstance to define my worth and value? Then move to identifying and adjusting. Okay, I'm going to release this. I'm going to resurrect this. Then you go into the experience after identifying and adjusting to be able to start to act upon it. You identify and adjust, and then you start to integrate, and then you begin to act it out into your life. Many times we have to act our way into feeling. Feelings come and go. They're very wishy-washy. They'll pop up and as quickly as they pop up, they'll pop back down. It's like that game of Gopher. Pops up, there's anger again, you slam it down each time. There's fear, slam it down. So it's like that Gopher game. So watch the Gophers that pop up and what the emotions are. Identify and adjust. Clarity of focus leads to accuracy of response. Slow down your perceptions so that you can reflect. After you learn, you reflect, you identify and adjust, you integrate, and then you act. That's the action step. What positive forward action step can I take to return to a place that aligns with the best version of me in this negative attitude when I'm spun into Animal Planet? So enjoy watching you over this next week, and don't be afraid to bop that gopher on the head to be able to make room for the positive growth, which happened in the story of C.S. Lewis as the reptile was strangled. My question to you today is, what is your reptile? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? What are you giving free rent to? What reptiles or lizards are you giving free rent to in your head? You are the landlord of your mind. I remember when I was going through advanced cancer, and doctors said, hey, we're going to try to get you 5 years. That did not sit well with me. And over 8 years later, here I am, Shazam. So I'm not inviting you to practice anything that I haven't had boots on the ground experience, and constantly have boots on the ground experience to be able to practice what God puts through me into this world, because the greatest teachers are consistent students, and I literally teach from the trenches. So remember, your attitude is your closest friend or your worst enemy, and you get to choose it. When you get spun, slow the process down. Ask yourself, what can I learn in this situation? What's my lesson? What's my lesson? What's the higher lesson here? We're going for the things we can take with us beyond the pine box. That's our higher lesson here. So as you move through the process of identifying and adjusting after you see the learning experience, which brings further focus, and then you're able, it's first learning, then reflecting, so you can get more clarity, then you identify and adjust, then you begin to integrate. I'm going to release this, expand this, meditate on this, step away from this. I'm not going to make a decision. As St. Ignatius says, don't make a decision in a time of desolation, because your brain literally restricts when you're feeling threatened. So don't make any permanent decision in terms of how you want to respond to a human being or a situation until you get out of the flare-up, because you're restricted. The hippocampus shrinks. All the studies conclude that you become less intelligent when you feel threatened. Not a good time to make any major decisions with your team, with your team at work or your personal life at home. So take the time to take those necessary steps so that you can move into integration, and then you say, what is a forward action step that I can take that aligns with the best version of me? Get that clarity of focus down, and we'll continue next week with whatever God puts on my heart. I'll be putting it out to you guys. So enjoy your gift of life. Oh, another thing that's very helpful, and I'm going to write this down here. Here we go. This is a site, HTTP, that I put on my own website, because I offer this to my clients, .com/daily-wellness. Thank you for your patience here. -wellness pack. Okay. Mind, emotional, body support for a positive outlook. Okay, so basically I was on the lookout, being an advanced cancer conqueror, and also being told that I'm in one of the highest groups for reoccurrence. So that's why I'm very intentional with each gift of life that I have. Rather than, all right, God, I want you to bless this, this, and this, I'm flipping my prayers to, what do you want me to do today? Because I'm so grateful to still be wearing this earth suit. One of the things that came into my life was from my own study that revealed that the three main fuels for disease are stress, inflammation, and lack of sleep. I took an entire course called How to Calm the Overactive Brain. The entire course was on sleep. So I got in touch with a group that just recently launched out of Denver. They have 20 years study, a patent on quercetin, which perhaps some of you have heard of. Quercetin simply is highly effective, not only in sports performance. As a second-degree black belt, I definitely love that because I continue to train. But also the emotional aspect of being able to return to a place of optimism, because when it's taken as directed, what it does is it ends up releasing serotonin. So with the help of their doctors, guidance of their doctors, I've had many clients that have actually gotten off of antidepressants as a result of being on this. It boosts a positive, optimistic outlook. I'm not going to say much more about it. If you're interested, explore it yourself. I put the link on the side. It's laurenemiller.com/daily-wellness-pack. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me with those questions at jdfulford. Actually, I'm going to put this down just so you guys have it. jdfulford@q.com. Okay, that's my business, but I get the emails from there with any questions or wonderings. All right. So your attitude is your closest friend or your worst enemy, and you get to choose it. Choose wisely. because it will determine the energy you give out into the world and the energy you attract unto yourself. God has created us to be positive, to reflect that positive spirit that I was doing a reflection on the Magi, the star that guided that pathway to the Savior. It's the star that is before us to keep that clarity within us, the person we're committed to being, and making God recognizable more today than yesterday. I look forward to the next time we meet, and enjoy your gift of life. Take care.